Okay, guys, cool. We will talk about that after the game. But we have finally got a game starting. As the numbers tick down, we have team the Biter. Actually, I'll name the teams. Their team names are diabolical, so we'll call out the teams later. However, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. My name is Ghosty, and today I will be casting the first team at the top of our table with 3 wins and 0 losses against another team who sits second, but joint first, obviously, with 3 wins and 0 losses. On the north, we have Ness. We have... Why can't I see the names? Is that bugged? Jimmy50, we have Ness, and we have Darknade. And on the south, we have Zaspar, we have Pavev, and we have Dalbos. These two are heavyweights and have had incredibly strong games in the opening 3 games, having won all of them. Today, unfortunately, one team will actually, we know for sure, definitively will be taking their first loss. And how they bounce back from that loss will be really, really interesting to see. So thank you for all the comments as well. Some of the suggestions for turret balance has been incredible. Some of the creativity that's been brought to the arena in that respect has been fantastic. Apologies, just a bit of an environmental warning, guys. It's currently saying it's 29 degrees inside my room right now. All the windows are open, I've got a fan on, it's still boiling hot. I will persevere, but I may, at the back end of this, start to run out of energy. So if you can send your energy through the screen at me, that would be amazing, because I am a shadow of my former self. We are in our 5th heat wave in the UK, and I'm a snow-type Pokemon. I am not built for this. So I'm here for Biter Battles. We will cast a game, but if it goes the distance, I'm going to try and summon, from my ancestors, the energy to get through this, because it is baking. Absolutely baking. However, you see what I did there? Just wait for it, guys. Just to curve that round, we're on for a scorcher. A scorching game, a Leviathan battle of the best teams that we have in the tournament so far. And do not worry, Guava enthusiast, if you're not here to make the entirety of the game, this will be posted to YouTube, hopefully by tomorrow morning. So, and for anybody that isn't aware, and I'll just state this at the beginning of the game, if you hear me talking to imaginary people, I have Twitch chat at the moment that is on my screen. However, I've been asked to by the community to turn it off so that you get more of a screen to watch the game. So if it sounds like I'm talking to myself, I'm answering questions on Twitch chat. This is not a heavily modified and edited version for YouTube. And I just really want to quickly go into why I do this. Because the channel is growing, and at the beginning of the game, not much is happening, so I have a brief 5-minute window before the real detail of the game kicks in to just briefly explain why we are doing this. We have many players across the entire world that play and engage with Biter Battles, and many of our friends and brothers and sisters out in Oceania, for instance Malaysia and the Philippines, out in Australia, South America, and parts of America, especially the Western Seaboard, aren't able to join us for these games. However, there is a need for, or they wanted to be able to watch these things back, and that's where I step in. I offered my services many years ago, once I kind of got slightly burnt out from playing the game. I'd been rank 1 for a long time, and I'd been undefeated as a captain for about 8 months. I said, why don't I take a break from the game? I will stream. I'll try and lend a bit of my knowledge to the stream itself and to people watching, and at the time there was only 3 or 4 people watching. And I'll try and explain the game to new people. And that way, when I post it on YouTube, our brothers and sisters out in America that can't make the game, out in Oceania, out in South America, out in the Philippines and all that jazz, they can join us in watching the game back. And when we talk on Discord later, we can all have a laugh about what did work and what didn't work, etc. So that's why this exists. It's grown since then, obviously. It's grown. But the reason why it stays roughly the same in terms of commentary style, I haven't gotten any sponsors involved. It's mostly because we've kept it as neutral and natural as possible. There may be a day where a large entity approaches us, like Pot Noodle for instance, or some tech company, and I'll have to weigh up whether or not I want to sell my soul to read an advert once every now and again. But yeah, this is, as best as I can put, Biter Battles for Biter Battles fans. And so I'll try this game to talk relevantly about the what's happening in the meta. We've done a lot of studying of the meta in the background. For any of you that want to join me in Twitch outside of these tournament games, and this week we have one happening today on Thursday, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, I'll be doing breakdowns of previous games to dig into the detail, to do more detail oriented explaining of what happened in the game. So we watch it back once to do commentary, and then we go over it a second time with a fine-tooth comb, and we do maths and we build graphs and we really dig into why things worked and what each team did. So if any of you out there want more detail, I promise you, if you're able to join me on Twitch, or maybe I might grab a couple of the VODs and make them their own videos, detailed analysis, I'll be doing that in the not too distant future. So yeah, I know that some of the comments are, you need to talk more about this, or you need to talk more about this. I get that, but I am but one man, a currently very sweaty man, attempting to hold it together at almost 10 o'clock at night at 29 degrees. Oh God. Anyway, so to get to your question, Guava, I'm assuming it's going to end up as a race to military science. I don't think so. I think both of these teams are strong enough and probably respect each other enough to know that they have enough strength to counter an early game pressure trap. They may set they may set a pressure trap. I'm not reading that out, but listens to hot sweaty man, giggity. I think that both teams there's a tacit gentleman's understanding that both of these teams are really, really, really fast. And so they're both going to play lightning speed to get to what I would assume would either be our end state at purple or end state at yellow. Taking a look at the map, we did point out, and for anybody new by the way on YouTube that hasn't seen this before, I finally managed to get my drawing tools working. And in having them working, I am able to illuminate areas of the map. And you'll see that happen throughout this game. The reason this map seed was picked, I believe, is because we have a generous amount of oil just off to the west. So if you're going for late game tech, we have really generous central patches that we can funnel into a large machine that will make our science and develop our technology and make us like later game items. But that oil is crucial if we're going into oil. Troopin, welcome in, mate. Welcome in. Is your team's playing this week, aren't they? I'm almost certain I saw that your team are down for a game. And thank you for the follow, mate. For any of you who don't know, Troopin has made some incredibly good content. In fact, can I get a shout out? How do I do this? Shout out. Did I do that right? Oh man, I'm really bad at these. Oh, it's Dash, isn't it? Is it Dash? Hey, there we go. There's a shout out to Troopin. A lot of you guys will know him from YouTube videos. He makes some incredibly good content and inspired me to try and give YouTube a bit of a go. I mostly was a Twitch person, and it was off the back of watching people like Troopin, off the back of watching people like Derek. Realised that maybe there's a small little corner of the internet where I could post some videos and host some BiterBattleBus games. So yeah, I hope you're going well, mate. And I'm 90% sure your team are playing, although I think your team have more than 3 people in it, so you could rotate players kind of through and on. But yeah, welcome in, welcome in. We're in for a very good game today. And back to the point I was making just before. It appears to me as though both teams potentially are looking to play an end game build. And because both teams are very, very fast, and I might be wrong about that, and feel free to lambast me in the comments if I am wrong, I think that we're going to get our standard issue centralized maul that we've identified early on, and we normally get that up anywhere between the 7-minute and the 12-minute mark, meaning that if we don't have it up, we're slow, and if we get it up sooner rather than later, we're quick. So for the south, this maul is up early, around about the 7-minute mark, and just like that on the north, we're right back into it. The second key indicator as to whether or not a team... you're the spare tyre. Interesting. On the tripod, that is Troopin's team. Troopin is the spare tyre. Excellent. I welcome it, mate. I think you guys had a decent game first game. It didn't go your way, but it was a good effort. It was a strong effort. So, I mentioned this before, but there are no bad teams in the tournament. Sometimes the gods go against you. And that game, it felt like the pressure just built a little too heavily all at once. And for any of you that want to watch Troopin's game, it'll be up on the YouTube channel, which I'll link to somewhere down below on the YouTube video or channel or whatever. And here you'll be able to find it on my links, etc. So key indicator number 1. It's unfortunate. I said this before, but the behemoths of the north and the titans of the south make each other seem normal sized, but they're actually really, really good players. And so they look average when somebody loses, but I promise you, the speed at which these people are playing, the inputs that these people are managing to accurately lay down, and the builds they're managing to achieve in a short space of time is nothing but heroic. It's very impressive, to say the very least. So I don't want to glaze them too much because we haven't seen anything yet today. We'll see what they decide to do. But anywhere between 7 and 12 minutes for a minimal is standard for us, 12 being on the slower end of that. So if you're outside of 12 minutes, you unfortunately are too slow. But a centralized, kind of mini mall that will then later develop into a larger mall. And then if you move towards a pressure trap, if you move towards military signs as your pressure trap, you're looking at the earliest we saw it was the practice game, which went up yesterday, I believe. 17 minutes, guys, which beat the average, or the quickest time, sorry, by 3 minutes, and the average by 6. So the average time, roughly, to get that pressure trap up was about anywhere between 20 and 24 minutes. And at 17, that practice game we had yesterday could be a key indicator that something shifted in the meta. And it kind of did help them win. I don't want to spoil the ending, but I believe that was a really nice... Out of all the games that we could have hosted, because we couldn't have one hosted because one team couldn't make it, we had a practice game. And off the back of that practice game, some new things were developed. New technology, new ideas, new builds. And those new builds are exciting. I will certainly be digging into the practice game, purely off of the base that one side had an idea that we have yet to see. And if another team decides to adopt that, I'm not saying it will help them win, but it was certainly unique. And I'll say that's as much as I'll say. You know, you can check it out in your own time, or I'll be doing a breakdown of that probably tomorrow afternoon, so you'll be able to see that then. So yeah, standard issue play from both teams. We have lots of iron going down, a half belt of copper, mini malls going down too, and we're beginning to look to build the first 2 tiers of our signs. Why do we want to just get through this early game of signs? Well, there's not a lot on offer when we research red signs and when we research green signs. Seki, thank you for the follow, mate. Welcome in. And good questions so far, by the way, especially about chefing. We're not going to go on a tangent, but some very good. And that Boiling Point documentary, try and find it. It's eye-opening for many different reasons. And I'll leave that point there. So yeah, we will eventually see this expand into labs. At the beginning of the game, we want to, as fast as we can, almost like we're driving a vehicle, you know, we start the game in neutral, and we have access to 1 signs, so we're in gear 1. The moment we have access to our green technology, we can take things in different directions, like we could go down the military signs route if we want to. If we want to build up the pressure trap, then we can go this way, or we can ignore this right-hand side of the tech tree and move to the left. And by doing that, we're conceding the fact that we may be pressured ourselves, but we're not building any pressurized bug evolutionary states in the opening, probably about 40, I think the quickest we saw blue was 40 minutes on the dot. If you forget this, if you don't go down military signs, if you just head from red-green straight into blue, and then from blue you need to navigate whether or not you want to move into purple signs for late game or yellow. That is well ahead of us for now, but just the 2 divergent paths that we take is we go to military signs, we use that to spam, forcing the enemy to have stronger bugs, pressurizing their environment, destabilizing their map, stopping them from building. It's risky though, and Nad, that's a really good point, it is risky. However, if you're fast enough, with high risk comes high reward. So I would opt for a small military build, and I think it was R.F. Holloway that said 8 military jug producers can produce 250 military signs within 5 minutes. Again, we've been doing a lot of testing in the background, and that should, boom, give you about 18%. So there's natural evolution that happens as the game goes on. And 250 military jugs, which can be built from 8 assemblers, and it takes 5 minutes to make this much, can shoot the bugs from small bugs to medium. Why does that matter? We will see later on why that matters, but for now, we don't really need to talk about the bugs, although this is called biter battles. The biters at the beginning of the game are very, very weak and meager. Gun turrets blow them away. You can even melee kill them if you do so choose to, but they are very, very simple and simplistic, and yellow mags and a gun turret will absolutely decimate even the small waves that are coming our way. And even like that, Dalvos doesn't care. I'm building belts, mate. You can take out, you look after the bugs for me. You know, I'm doing busy work. I'm doing Dalvos stuff. Big Dalvos jobs. So the south here, building out their network of smelting, adding another iron line too. Again, we're going to need every single patch in this opening area, and it's interesting to see that both teams are building west to east. So they're both building left to right. And at the moment, it appears to me as though the north, just literally a hair ahead. We've only been in the map for 14 minutes now, but I believe we're going to be seeing roughly the same opening build. So the way that this game is broken up is into thirds, basically. The longest game has gone for an hour and a half, and if your first half an hour goes well, that typically dictates that your middle half an hour, you'll be able to expand. Meaning that the last half an hour of the game, you will be in control, building your late game science, and basically winning. You know, if you do these things well, and you manage the pressure, and you manage the bugs, and you can get to those stages, then you'll do well. A slow 30-minute opening leads to pain, misery, and suffering in the middle 30, and it basically means the last 30 you won't even have. You'll just be scrambling to defend your base as your base blows up. So, lots of things to keep in mind as we go. Darknade building out some... Oh, okay, interesting. So they're going to go for some military spam here. Or at the bare minimum, they're going to be building walls. Interesting, okay. Are we seeing this on this? We're not seeing... Okay, so we have at the 15-minute mark, we see a minor divergence. The North are building slightly faster and slightly larger, so these two levels of signs will be red and green. And for any of you that don't know, I'm just going to cover this very quickly because I do appreciate we have a lot of new people watching on YouTube that are very new to Factorio, or maybe just new to Biter Battles. To build red signs, all you need to do is create some copper plates and some gear wheels. If you put them onto a line together like this and merge them in a line and put them into an assembly 1, they will then be fed into that assembly and create a red jug that can go in labs and give you your research. Coincidentally, for green signs, yellow inserters and yellow belts fed into an assembly machine will give you green science. This is typically known as the beginning of the game, the early game. You must do this, otherwise you will never be able to progress to deeper tech. And I've seen your question there, Guava Enthusiast, and it is a good one. Do I know if going for purple or yellow has a higher win rate? That is a very good question. From the games that we have cast so far, yellow has seemed to be the stronger of the win conditions. However, there are massive inherent weaknesses in going for yellow if the opposition snipe you with pressure early on and then transition to blue quickly. So the way, and at the moment we can see technology is relatively basic. They're not going to be going for anything weird and wonderful like labs research or any of that jazz. So I would say yellow is like about a 70% win rate, but not every team has tried to go for yellow or purple, so bear that in mind. We've had, this will be game number 9, I believe. And I think we've only had 4 or 5 games of those 9 where we've gotten to a solid end game where both purple and yellow are slugging it out at each other. There was one game where yellow existed and the other team had nothing. So yeah, the South are again building up fast and furious. This is a lot of work for a 3-person team to do, but they're managing to get it done. BiterBattleBus is working like an absolute demon at the moment, creating an enormous, what I guess would be steel production. Meanwhile, Zasper is getting down again our opening setup of green and red labs, and what we've noticed and what we've seen from beforehand is that they're able to squeeze and squish into this area military signs. And what we'll do with our drawing tools later on is we'll really unpack the builds that are happening in front of us. I think that'll be quite useful for you guys to see the way that these guys are organizing their builds, because the south are going for stone flowing into. Look at iron smelting next to gears. Ooh, and this is why we don't hover. So I'm not going to point it out, but just above my mouse cursor, there we go. It was fixed. Minor issues like that can slow you down by half a second. If 10 of those happen in the space of 10 minutes, then you're behind by 10 seconds. This is more like Formula 1 than you may think. There are 2 very, very fast pieces of machinery which are designed in different ways, and they will achieve different things under different circumstances, different parameters. But I don't believe that we'll see sends. I might be wrong, and again, if I'm wearing a hat, I'm not. If it was, it would be a hat made of ice. We've talked about this before, but I might talk about it a bit more. It's fucking hot. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any sends early on. The reason being is that you want to keep that science that you make, because it's very cheap and easy to make, and throw it into your large array of labs in order to gain a speed advantage. What you have to remember, guys, is that both of these teams are stupid fast. So if I'm Zaspar's team and I'm looking over the river, I'm sat there going, I think we can beat these guys. It is a race, it's a foot race, or a car race, or Formula 1 race, whatever you want to call it. I think our machinery is quicker. I think our pit crew is quicker. I think our fuel is quicker. I think our wheels are better. I think we can move faster than they can. So let's do it. Let's beat them at their own game. They are going to go for a quick build, and so we are going to go for an even quicker build. And just like that, I love this build. This is those 8 assembly machines that create military signs that can potentially destabilize the map for the south. And we did the maths earlier on. 250 jugs scent will certainly destabilize the map, and it takes 5 minutes. Now, they're building military, or they're starting to build military, it looks like. Power's a bit low, though. Interesting. Why is power low? Something wrong with the piping? Why is power low? Power it's not, it should not be like this. Have they just expanded too far? Interesting. I'm sure they've spotted that. Welcome in, the P, or Thep. Apologies if I just butchered your name. The numbers at the very top. I'll break them down as they go from left to right. So the north, and the number next to it is how many players on the north. So there's a green number 3. Next to that is how evolved the bugs are. So for here on the north, we have 4%. And just as I say that, Darknade has thrown 8 jugs of military science over to the south. And because he's thrown jugs with a large mutagen percentage, and 8 of them, he's managed to jump the percentage, the strength of the bugs, by 1.9%. And 8 jugs is nothing. You can make 8 jugs really, really quickly. So the next send potentially could be 20 jugs. It could be 100 jugs. And that will jump the evolution of the bugs even higher. And then next to that percentage number, this number here is how many bugs, how many enemies are on your map. So for the north, there are 226. For the south, there are 338. Welcome in, Horizon. Yo, how's it going, mate? How are you? So this is what we'd like to call a pressure trap. This is a building and a set of buildings that are creating a pressurized environment on the enemy team. So again, 24 jugs now get sent, and there's a difference. The north are dealing with 4% bugs, the south are at 9.4. So basically, the south are trying to slow down the north. The north are trying to slow down the south by making the bugs a bit too strong. And at the beginning of the game, guys, we don't have good grenades. You know, we don't have good flamer ammo. We don't have good shooting upgrades. We don't have anything good. So when the bugs do get stronger, we have to just use the basic tools that we have available to us. You might only have 5 grenades, but actually the amount of bugs coming in need 10. So by pressurizing the enemy side, by turning up the fire, we get stuff like this, where bugs will find their way into your base, and at the moment they're really weak still, you know, they are easily manageable, but later on when the bugs are 20% or maybe 30%, they can tear through bases. And at the end of the game, and hopefully if you're able to stay for it until the very end of the game, and if you're not, this game will go up onto YouTube as well. Yes, they are. They're available. So if you're spectating, you'll be able to see this stuff. And in the game as well, you'll be able to see. The only thing that's limited in the game is vision. So the north team won't be able to see all of this. This will be darkened out through like a fog. And the same with the south, they won't be able to see all of this. However, scouting and being able to scout your opponent's base is a mechanic. Although it's a mechanic that might not seem as evident as possible, but to keep it basic and short, fish can be used to heal yourself, but they can also be used to, there's a little kind of tab over here as a player, and if you click the fish button, that sends a certain amount of fish that will give you a certain time of vision. So sometimes it's 30 seconds, sometimes it's a minute, and you'll get to see what the enemy are doing. And scouting is really, really important. Although with teams like this that we have on both North and South, I think they are acutely aware, and that's from playing a lot against each other and with each other, exactly what either team are trying to do. I don't think scouting is relevant yet. However, it may come into play. I believe yesterday, and I'm not just saying this to hype things up, or maybe it was 2 days ago, it might be 2 days ago, not yesterday, the practice game that we had, a new build emerged. And I'm not just saying that to try and, ooh, whoa, Ghosty saying something new happened. A new build emerged, and I'm very interested to see if anybody will adopt that build. Because if I'm on the enemy team and I think they're doing something different, I need to scout for that. That build was vastly different to anything we've seen so far. It was quicker than any other pressure trap we've seen so far, and it was highly efficient, highly effective. So yeah, and again, it's very useful to see if they go for military, they're slowing down their late game, but they're giving themselves a chance to pressure. If they skip military, they're going for absorbing pressure, and they're going into that late game tech as fast as possible. Fennec asks, why are both teams underbuilding green, overbuilding red? Is it just for ease of building? It's an interesting question, and one that somebody brought up a really, really good point on YouTube. about the different building styles that the North and South are having, depending on obviously the teams that are in the game. Some teams build... Oh, the South Center as well. Okay, really? I didn't think we'd be having this today. But we do. Okay, 25 jugs. Both teams are looking to turn up the temperature. I will get back to your point, Fennec, because it is a very good point. But just really quickly to show off, the first send from the North was at 24 minutes, and that's at the back end of the speed at which we've seen military being built and sent, but it's not bad. It's only 4-minute difference from the initial send from the South, and Zaspar then throws another 50-odd jugs. So yeah, we are pushing the pressure up. I believe that some of the builders are overbuilding red and overbuilding green in order for labs expansion later on in the game. I was talking to Anti-Elites a couple of days ago when we were doing some of the breakdown analysis, and we were talking about Derek's base design effectively, and it kind of came to pass that they have, and it was never confirmed, but I kind of got it in my mind that they had an expansionist point where you're about to get your final tech. So let's say, for instance, your goal in life is to get to yellow, and you have everything ready to go. You then like weld on to the edge of this an extra 4x4 of labs, and then from there... Oh, the dough! Well, oh, thank you for the raid. Does that mean your internet's dead? No, come on. Not again. Hopefully not a tornado. Firstly, welcome raiders. Oh no. Can we crowdfund the does? Is it the connection or is it your PC? Let me give you a shout out, mate. I've learned how to do shout outs. Oh man, that sucks. That really sucks. What I need to do, and I don't know if this is available to you, the dough, but the next time you have you crowdfund a tornado bunker, I'd be down. I don't know how much a tornado bunker costs. Next time it does go down, if you're able to hop into a Discord call, maybe we can try and set up a Discord call so that you can carry on some commentary and I'll take a bit of a back seat. Because this has happened multiple times and it sucks. Oh, I can ask. Let me at least let me DM Neuro. Hold on 1 second, guys. The Doe has been commentating. The Doe has been doing some really good commentary. Let me just DM Neuro. Sorry guys, anybody watching real quick? Can you DM the Doe There you go. Okay, cool. So I think Neuro, last time he told me to directly message him. For anybody out there, never ever directly message Neuro. He does not enjoy being DM'd. He's a very, very busy man. He is a professional. However, for passwords and stuff. I'm an idiot. Sorry, mate. It's 29 degrees in my room right now at 10:15. My brain is not fully on. Skilltron, Agin, thank you for the follows, guys. I appreciate you. We'll try and make this as cerebral as we possibly can. And you guys hopefully will get some form of commentary or some format of commentary out of this. So what we did notice, and welcoming everybody, I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you're staying cool in what I'm experiencing now as a 5th heat wave of the year. And we're experiencing what we've seen happen more often now is a pressure trap of 8 military jug assemblers being built around about the 20-minute mark. And off the back of that, we're seeing that the one side's... Oh no, though, to be fair, the Zaspar's pushing the pressure on North as well. So, okay, let's take a quick... Sorry, I got briefly stun locked there by trying to get the Doe the password. So let's just check let's check the mutagen feed right now. So the North have sent a little over 100 more jugs than the South, but the South have begun to send. And they're sending, it seems to be, like quite a weighty amount of military signs. So we are in for a slug match here. Both sides are now experiencing medium-sized bugs, meaning that they have evolved from the small state where they are pink-shelled bugs, and they've moved up into the medium-sized, here we go, these guys. As one dude is catching up to the rest of the pack, like, hey guys, wait up! As you can see, those medium-sized bugs are a lot harder to kill, and they will drain your resources because the time to kill won't just be a single grenade, it will be multiple grenades or lots of bullets. And so as we get packs of more condensed medium-sized bugs, it will eat away at your already diminishing defensive stockpile. Cake Kaka, welcome in. Thank you for the follows, guys. I appreciate you. Yeah, we need to crowdfund the does. Like an upgrade, maybe? Is it like, do you think it's like the graphics card or something? Oh, no worries, dude. Hey, enjoy, and hopefully next time it can be stable a bit more. You know, we can. I don't know what we can do, but I'm sure somebody out there has, I don't know, some way of fixing. I'm not an IT person, but have a good dinner, mate, and thank you for the raid. And raiders, don't feel bad if I'm not up to the standard that the dough is. I have a very particular way of casting, and it might not be to everybody's taste. So if this isn't for you, I more than appreciate you guys just being here and heading out somewhere else. So. Oh, sorry, Fennec. So back to that question, and you're right, I didn't fully answer it. I got kind of stun-locked a little bit there. So the way that I've read into so far teams doing it differently is that a lot of it is from muscle memory of builds and packaging of builds. So they're willing to forego either an overbuild or underbuild of certain sciences in order for it to fit in a particular block. There's only one team in the tournament, I believe, and that's Team Chewer, who have a very specifically highly calculated setup of, I'm confident it's the headphones. I'm confident in saying that Chewer have a predetermined, preloaded set of labs. Everybody else just goes down with, I think it's 12 and 12. And the same with these guys. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 and 16. It just fits. And if we take a brief look, again, and I do, for any of you out there that likes MS Paint, you're going to love this stream. Tier 1 is in this box. Tier 2 is in this box. Tier 3 is in this box. Tier 4 is up here. And Tier 5, guys, guess where that's going to go? Right here. The entire build can fit on a screen. So it is the most compact it could possibly be. So I think that it's basically just, yeah, it's ease of building, really. And then typically behind this, not always, but sometimes, oh damn, that colour doesn't work. Sometimes behind this will be oil. So oil will sit at the furthest, most recessed elements of the base. But yeah, for any of you out there that wants to know what I do differently, I talk a lot about myself, and I also draw on stream a lot too. But we also try not to take things super seriously as well, so. So yeah, both the North and the South are flying by at this a rate of knots. The North have already researched advanced circuits, they've already researched plastics, and they're moving into sulfur and then onto blue science. The South have a load of sciences queued up already, so plastics, red chips, sulfur. I mean, this is all really, really standard issue stuff. Really standard issue stuff. In terms of production, this is always a really, really key stat. Now, there are a lot of people out there that really don't like this production tab. Apparently, YouTube is not a fan of this production tab. I love this. This is one of my favorite things because it tells a story. Who produced what? How much of it did they make? Did they overproduce, underproduce? Did they outproduce their opposition? Who got to science first and by how much by? How much was used? How much was thrown? This tells a story. This is like, yeah, this is like the story of the game happens in this tab. So apologies for anybody out there that doesn't like this. It's not going away anytime soon. Life was a lot worse when people weren't coding stuff like this into the game, trust me. It was all done by, you know, maths, or you had to physically calculate what was being made. This, it all does it for us. So teams are relatively equal on coal, relatively equal on stone. The South have about 4,000 or 5,000 more iron plates being made, and a few more thousand in copper as well, which is quite a key indicator. Let's see if we can go into more stats. They have a serious amount, 3,000 to 4,000 more green chips being made as well. So the South are, by all intents and purposes, overproducing, outproducing. So they're really flying. I mean, the thing is though, what's interesting is they're kind of mirroring each other. I said this at the very beginning of the game. This is a scenario, but it's vanilla. So there's no specific mod that you need to play this. All you have to do is find fighter battles in the main multiplayer. I've got for anybody out there that's brand new who doesn't know, off the back of a lot of the popularity of this tournament, I've been tasking myself with making some beginner content, and the very first video that I've made that I'll be putting out very soon once I've done some voiceover and audio stuff is how to find the server, how to find out our stats. And if you have a look at I pinned a comment on my chat. That is our website that has all of our stuff. Oh, if you do, I think it's this. Hang on a sec. I think it's YT. Boom. I did something. I did a thing. So normally we have a lot of people on, and it's typically, you know, the weekend we have a lot of players that join us. And you don't need to be a skilled, high-level Factorio player to be part of our games. All you have to do is put your hand up and say, hey guys, I'm new. Can you give me a bit of an explainer? Or what do I do? Give me a job, you know? And for many people, that's more than enough to get them in. That's what I did. I joined the server, I joined a team, I got into Discord, I went, hi guys, my name's Ghosty, I'm a noob. What needs work? You know, literally, is there a job for me? And I think the first thing I ever did was power. Somebody said, we just need more of a power block, so just build another one of these. So all I did was I grabbed my tools, I found the coal patch out of the way, and I just went and built up power. And that's how I started, basically. Apologies if I'm missing any messages as well, guys. I'm trying to stay caffeinated, I'm trying to stay energized. It's still 29 degrees in the room. It's still 29 degrees. Fans are on, windows are open. Our buildings are made to retain heat, unfortunately, even the new builds. So blue science is on. It is flowing through the labs, and that is a key indicator that we are the transitional period. Here we go. 3 minutes for red on the north, 16 for green for the next tier, 20, only a 4-minute gap between green and military going on. And we said this in the preamble, in the build up to the game, that transitioning between military jugs and blue jugs is typically denoted by either whether a team is good and fast and moving at pace, or if they're slow and they're tasked with other things. So having too much pressure on the map, and this is these bugs could cause a lot of problems. They're strong enough to tear up your build. So you need to get on top of the defensive effort as fast as possible, keep building, keep pushing the size of your build up, keep trying to get to late game. Oh, there was an interesting question. Let me scroll up. Apologies. Does the size of individual sends matter? For example, is it better to have one send of 100 jugs versus 10 sends of 10 jugs? I've always, and thank you for bringing that up, Fennec. Again, I mostly try and hit all the questions coming in. I have always operated off the back of bigger sends multiply more than smaller sends that come often. Sometimes you don't really have a choice, and just to kind of push an enemy player over a certain point, you'll find that people will just throw anything and everything. So if their purple send has made 10 jugs, then they will literally just send 10 at a time. But I've always worked under the assumption and worked under the influence that big sends make more sense, which is why in some of the games you'll notice and note that oh yeah, we can simulate it. What am I talking about? Give me a number. Somebody give me a number that I can break down into smaller numbers. So, you know, if we're going to go 100, let's make it 100, 200, 200, that kind of thing. But somebody throw a random number out there. And don't make it a square root number. Holy shit. I'm not very good at maths. Yeah, 10 by 10. Let's go military. Let's go military as well, because that's quite key in our current build. You know, military seems to be quite an important part. So if we do 10 at a time to the north, okay, that jumps the percentage by 0.1, by 0.1, by 0.1. It's 0.1 every time. So we need 100 of these to jump at a single percentage, right? If my maths is correct. Yeah, 100 of those for a single percentage. Meanwhile, if we send 100, we jump by 1.4%. So there's an added extra 0.4% in that send, where normally going 10 at a time, we'd only reach 1% increase. So there we go, empirically stated. And thank you for the question, because that solved it. I don't tend to use those calculators because when I play the game, I coordinate this stuff, but I'm nowhere near this build. I'll help to build it, but my role and my goal when I play the game is away from this. And it's a very nuanced and quite skillful, mechanically speaking, way of playing the game. Insofar as, if you get it right, your team thinks you're a hero. If you get it wrong, you're dead and your base is dead. So kind of everything rests on your shoulders. And it's quite high pressure job to do, so. Threat numbers don't necessarily have a threshold. That's just a base number. I've seen the threat go into the negative 500,000, and I've seen the threat go into the multi-millions. So, and yes, Hykin, fantastic question. Hykin says, for my limited time watching, is a big send can surprise a team that hasn't had a reason to build up defenses? Yes. So we call these timing attacks. If you think that your enemy is weak and would not like an attack, So you think that they're not really building up. Threat can be negative, yes. I'm going to save that for my beginner series, though. I could talk to you at length about negative threat, because that's where I became one of the best players of the game, is understanding threat. I'm a threat farmer, and so I figured out very early on nuances around threat. But trust me, all of those videos I've written down a long script of topics I want to cover. And walls, defenses, and threat is a key component of all of that. There are certain things you must have. The same way that you cannot research without labs, you cannot play a game of Biter Battles without a threat farmer. And a good threat farmer is worth their weight in gold. And I just want to note, Darknade is one of the best threat farmers out there. Oh yeah, there's rave ratios. I guess, yeah, R's correct in that respect. There's some graphic about rave ratios, but from my understanding, threat itself is the evolution number is the most important thing to focus on. The North now sat at 33%, 27.4 on the South, and Omni. Yeah, let me do that calculator. Let me do 50 and 50, and we'll go for the same signs. We'll go 50 to the North, and then we'll send it again. So 0.7 and another 0.7, followed by 1.4. Okay, so maybe it's the very small amounts. So if you're only sending 10, you don't get that bump. But if you go into kind of multiples, so you go to your 20s, 30s to 50s, then you do. Yeah, so as we see, oil being stitched up. Where did they go for oil? Over here? That's unique. I would have thought they would have gone out. And one thing to note as well, so I haven't scanned out the map really that much. Okay, they went to this, or they went for the exact... Guys, we have a mirror matchup. Head on iron with South. The South had a distinct advantage of a couple of thousand plates. So yeah. But blue is on for both teams, and there will be a gap there between the... Yeah, so 35 minutes for the North. Literally 2 minutes later, the South gets their blue build on. Guys, this really will come down to how efficient the build is, how quickly you can funnel resources into the build, and if you can manage doing all of that and expand and keep your base alive, we are on for late game. We're on for the later part of this game. This could be, I don't want to be that guy, I don't want to hype it up. I know I'm the commentator, but I don't want to insert fake storylines into the game, but this could go off. This could be like a missile waiting to be fired. A rocket sat in the silo waiting to go to space. And all it needs is a fish and a satellite and a dream, and we're flying. Intergalactic travel is upon us. This could be it. Both teams are aiming for late game, and both teams are very quickly building up to it. It would not surprise me, around about the 1 hour mark, we're seeing the putting down of those late game builds, either yellow or purple. Now, it's for my money, yellow appears to be the way that both these teams could potentially play it. Easy to say that now, it will come to fruition in the not too distant future, but if it was me playing on either of these two teams with the speed at which we're playing at, I would go for yellow. I absolutely would. Because we can, we are afforded the opportunity to. Space science is the strongest of all science. So basically, if we are able to, I'll just show you 100 of each. So we'll just send 100, obviously fake send, 100 of each late game science. So if the North were to have 100 purple sent, evolution would jump by 11. 100 yellow, and it would jump by 18%. So an extra, 7% there on top. 100 space, however, would jump the evolution by 44%. If you can get to space, and we won't get to space in the 3v3 tournament, but if you do play the normal Biter Battles games, we can normally launch a rocket within an hour and a half. You will see lots and lots and lots of rockets fly up into space, lots of white signs come back down again, and these enormous castles and defensive builds that we have get tested. It's really fun to play, guys. Really fun. Yes, RTS has come up a lot. RTS has come up a lot. As we see the very first laser tower go down as well for the North. They factored lasers in. I wonder if the South will do that. I'm sure there's room for their build for laser production. I'd hope there would be at least. South have a coal problem. Are you down here? Kalsmar. Sorry, my brain is just not on at the moment. I need coffee. Got you. Apologies, guys. My brain just emptied out there. So I'm just gonna swig the element, the final remnants of my coffee, and that's it for me today. No more caffeine. Okay, we're back. So 33.3% on the north, only 2% difference compared to the south. So the south are dealing with 31.5% bugs. This is, for all intents and purposes, pretty close. You must make a space science platform, you need to make a satellite to go into the rocket. Luckily, at the beginning of the game, the idea of the game mode is to keep our silo alive. Both teams have a rocket silo in the center of their base, and this silo is the key objective. We must keep this safe at all costs. If this ever dies, our team has lost the game. So we can also use this to send rockets from. So when we get to the end of the game, we already have something that gives us the opportunity to send rockets. But this is vanilla though, guys. Yeah, sorry, just to point that out, we are in vanilla, so we're not space age based. So when I talk about the space platform, sorry, what I meant was the recovery platform, not the actual in space. We have had one hero, one absolute Goliath in our community try their hardest to program space age biter battles, and they almost got them. I don't know about. I'm not entirely sure if we do require SA mods. I may be wrong. Again, you'd need to speak to the people that program stuff. I literally just come and play. I was an admin for a couple of years, and now I turn my hand to casting. So if it comes to all the technical stuff like mods and stuff, you'd need to direct those questions to like Neuro and some of the senior guys that know about this stuff. I don't, and I'm glad I don't. I can turn my hand to playing now again as well, which is something that I definitely want to get back into. It has been a long time since I played. Oh, that is one chunky buffer. Oh my days. Well, that's certainly something that the north has that the south does not. Although LDS is already on and being created in the south, that buffer is egregious. That is egregious. That is an insulting amount of copper being stuck into a chest. And we all know what it's here for, guys. We are certainly going to have the yellow on yellow match. It's what we're here for, guys. This is what we're here for. What would you coin that as a throwdown? Yellow versus yellow, fire versus fire. No, because it's not really red, is it? Sun versus sun. Who's produced more circuits? I will check for you. So the north have produced more red. However, they're being outproduced by the south by a good 7,000 green chips. So Homer versus Bart. I like it. Simpsons on Simpsons actions. I'll allow that, but we tend not to go in that direction, Kalzamar, just to let you know. It's a good thing, chat. I would get demonetized if that shows up, just to let you know. I'm happy with it popping into chat, but yeah, I've got to keep it PG-13. I mean, I'll swear every now and again, but you know, whilst we broadcast, we try and, you know, cater to a broad taste. Hey, some people are into that thing, and, you know, more power to him. So, yeah, outproduced on green, but overproducing on red. The North have caught up on steel. They've caught up on copper. They're catching up on iron. They're still being overproduced on stone, and they're overproducing on coal. So that, in turn, with lasers being made, I really like this. Yellow cake, yeah. Buffering is an ugly necessity, unfortunately. I don't like lines stagnating. So, for instance, we have here, you know, there'll be a furnace with 100 plates in it. Ideally, in a perfect world, that should never really happen. However, as things expand and as things move forward, we're going to end up with things that need to be backed up. Like chips, for instance, need to be chested. You need red chip buffer. You know, I'd need a load of these to just be ready to go on hand anytime. And yeah, here we go. We mentioned it before, guys, but I'm just going to draw this out for you because we spoke about this at the very beginning of the game, and here it is now ahead of us. Tiers, well, 1 second, let me just use a box. We'll use a box for this. Tiers 1 and 2. Tier 3. This is tier 4. And then here we are with tier 5. It's all in one box. It's all in one area, ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the most condensed area. There is no wasted pixels here. Everything is as close as it can be, meaning you can maximize your build time too. So the main builder isn't running miles and miles and miles to get to somewhere. They are literally just, building with impunity, which is great. And again, yeah, you do not want production idling. It's a great point, AJ. It's a great point. Idling production is just wasted time, really. So if it's in a box, oh damn, is that death? Did I see a death? Wait. Okay, it didn't pop up into chat. I know why. Got you. Remember guys, to press F to pay respects in chat. I need to re-establish all of my emotes and stuff. I've fresh installed Twitch onto, OBS into my PC, so I missed out on all of the emotes that we so do love to spam, but yeah, it's about to be on. It's about to be on like Donkey Kong. Yeah, huge buffer here, huge green chip production. I can't get these words out, guys. Jesus, my brain is fried, lads. I promise you, I'm here till the end of the game, guys, but I might not be as energized as I normally am. I promise you, this is already making out to be a fantastic game. So if I'm not bringing the energy, hopefully the game quality is coming out and is on show. Darknader's got some solid work ahead of them in terms of defending. It appears to me as though the sends have happened, and that is it. Now we can see. Yeah, sure thing, dude. If you have a question at the end of the stream, pop it into... Oh, about the Discord. Yeah, dude, we'll talk about that after the game, definitely. Remind me in about... What time is it now? About 30 minutes? The game should be over in the next 30-35 minutes, give or take. But yeah, definitely. So yeah, correct. Sending lots of low tier signs in this game mode, in this particular custom difficulty, it doesn't lend itself to being that useful. Oh god. Oh my god. I think I just swallowed a fly. Extra protein. Anyway, so the game really does begin offensively at military signs. Through our testing and our breakdowns that I do on my separate stream, so I'll be streaming between these tournament games, doing breakdowns, we've noticed and noted that the game really begins offensively, sending pressure through military jugs, but only to a certain point. At some point, this eventually becomes not useless, but doesn't really help you as much. So some teams turn off their military jugs, they military spam effectively. The two divergent play styles that we're seeing, however, is that the North have gone for, as we see a car pancaked into the ground, RIP wheels. We see laser turrets. Now, I don't think they're going to go deep with their turret research in terms of their damage, but they certainly have something different that the South don't have. So the South might have a couple of extra red chips, and yes, they will be making yellow jugs now. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they turn this on around about the same time. 52 minutes on the South. Are we still waiting for research on the North? Is that what we're missing? No. So I'm guessing they've just turned their buildings on, right? Yeah, they've just turned their buildings on. So there should be about maybe a little bit less than 2 or 3 minute gap between the signs coming in. And we are neck and neck. We are at the end game. Well, sorry, we're in the end phase of the game where the later game signs being built and sent will change the game. Now is the really cool part. One team is going to have to defend for their lives. Remember, both of these teams are 3-0. Both of these teams are top of our table. Both at the moment are undefeated. And so now we're in an end state. One team has to defend like tournament winners, like the 4-0 champions they want to be. And one team is going to lose the game and go 3-1 off the back of pressure, off the back of their build, off the back of their effort and their endeavor. So, yeah, this is interesting. Let's count the yellow as well. That's a great idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12 yellow on the North. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 on the South. Damn. 12 on the North, 16 on the South. However, 16 is a hungry, hungry build. We see some laser towers that could potentially go down. However, they have yet to build any lasers. And that could be a determining factor. You know, defenses are no joke. I mean, let's see. No, hang on a second. They have built on the North 42. And they've got 23 on the ground with 19 spare, just in case bugs arrive and you just need to slap a load of them down. I like the way the North are playing this, although this is dangerous. Guys, you need to get on top of this. This is super dangerous. Is anybody near? See a car flying in, Darknade's flying in. We cannot lose a base right now. We cannot lose the base, guys. Jimmy going in and losing the car is worth it. I'm 100% calling that worth. We cannot at all drop the ball now. This is surgery. What we need to do now is surgery, not butchery, surgery. We need to surgically remove the bugs from our base whilst dealing with the pressure and continuing to build up. Any lag, any bugs that make it on top of our base, any destruction of our base slows us down. And we noticed and noted earlier on that the South have had their yellow on for a little bit longer than us. They have been producing for 2 minutes. They've made 177 jugs. So we are behind. We've made 51. So we're getting there. We're cranking it out. And because we have less assemblers, means we have to feed less. We could end up with more overall if the South starts to run out of products. But this is it. This is what the game boils down to. At the 55-minute mark, the team on the North and the team on the South have both got yellow ready to go, loaded in the gun. The yellow gun is ready to fire. The number, we're not too sure of yet. We'll do some calculations at the 1 hour mark. However, the red ships are, they're coming in. This is generous, Are we backed up on anything? No, it's all about production now. Power's low. Ooh, power's low? For real? Dude, power is like not having a good time right now. We're at like 4/5 of the power that we need. Oh damn. Do they have any plans to build out? They need some. Ooh, so the South now need to commit somebody. Oh, they have. It's just not really fully going at the moment. This will hopefully potentially pick up their power off the ground. They're missing out here. They're missing out. Meanwhile though, the North have got their work cut out for them. The bugs are here, and although they're mediums, very soon if the South decide to send, those mediums will jump up to big bugs. And Darknade on foot has a lot of work to do. A lot of work. This is frightening. A terrible position to be in, really. They'll manage it with a poison capsule. Kiting the bugs in, watching them burn down through the DPS is a very cost-effective play to make, not wasting grenades, holding them in situ. Yeah, I would opt for a little laser pod just out here. Let's have a look at the North power then. They should be fine, right? These guys should be flying. That is interesting. Okay, they've managed to rectify that, probably by hand-feeding coal. Scary though. Scary. If the South get lasers on, and power goes low, and these things start working slowly, meaning this ends up not getting fed, they could be in a world of pain. A real world of pain. Although that being said, let's take a look at now. All the research that can be done has been done. So the North are going through some basic laser tech, all the availability they have. Yes, so there is a central building in the middle of the map, which is an accumulator here. And this turns on when you unlock and build a laser. And this gives you 50 megawatts of power to use to fuel your lasers, basically. Yeah, so basically you don't get access to this until you hit that spot. It's another cool thing about the 3v3 meta that we wouldn't have in a normal game. So yeah, the South they have a front line, they have people with handheld flamers. Another car gets pancaked into the ground. RIP Wheels. Wheels Jr. The labs are kind of researching. Blue is being strangled a little bit here because of red ship production. They deconned most of their blue now, so their research will not come out that fast. However, they are building laser turrets as well, which is good to see, so they will have some physical defenses to stick down. And red ships now are strangling their build a little bit. There's just 1 or 2 buildings with item shortages. Well, only 1 now, but still significant in terms of production. Let's take a look at production. This is the most important number. So the North were behind by 2 minutes on yellow, and they built half as much yellow signs as the South. Let's take a number. Pick a number between 500 and 1,500. Bear in mind, the 1,500 number is a bit unreasonable. That's just the higher end. If somebody can just mash their keyboard and come out with a number that you think might push 700. I see 700. I'll do 999 as well, because that is actually you could get there. So the North have 700 yellow jugs, and they send it to the South. They are 10% away from behemoths. And you could, if you wanted to, build a couple hundred more, and then get that extra 10% over the line. Behemoths are significant because no base yet has survived behemoths. Let's do 1,000 really quickly, but we'll send that to the north. So 1,000 from the south go to the north. 87%, only 3% or 2.5% away from that critical period of 90%. For any of you that don't know, when the bugs evolve, there are certain stages they go to. The bugs begin at smalls. They then evolve at 20% to mediums, which are these, the pink-shelled bugs that we see. They then go up a tier from pink to blue, which are denoted by big bugs at 50%. Then from 50, the next evolution is the last one at 90%. The bugs become enormous. They end up with green shells, and no base will appear. Will survive behemoths in this game mode. Bosses appear, from my understanding, and I need to test this because I'm not entirely sure. In this game mode, it's different because the evolutionary states have been messed with. I've seen bosses as early as 80%. I believe I've seen bosses at around about the 80% mark. They're big bosses, but they are hard to deal with. And a boss bug is effectively a bug with its own health bar. It's like an Elden Ring boss, you know? It's not one of those NPC enemies you just get to fight and kill. Like, do you know who I am? I'm Pavev with a flamethrower. Take that. Have at you, demon. No, this is like main character boss, you know? And you have to deal with them. So yeah, and very interesting, very interesting set of builds here. And have they must have turned this off now. Now what I would do, they are perfect. Oh my god, I'm so happy to see this, guys. Previous games have not taken this into consideration and haven't preloaded a chest of walls. What I love about this is that the northern team, and I'm sure the southern team have done this as well, the northern team have chested up a load of walls, meaning that when these walls start to get chipped away at and go down, you have the ability to put them back up as fast as possible. Michelle, they showed up in the latest YouTube video. Yes, they just chart. It's like a monster truck. It's like a monster truck. They just pick a direction and they go, and anything in its way is just brutalized, tenderized, rubberized. Hang on a minute. There's no way that's a word. Have I just trumpiated a word out of thin air? Rubbleized. Rubblecated. It's so hot, lads. My brain is not working. Can somebody tell me if rubbleized is a word? I know it's not. I'm 99. I speak English. It's my main language. It's not my first language, but that's not a word, is it? Can somebody check the dictionary real quick? Have I just spoken a word into existence? I'm sorry, lads. I'm not keeping to the high standards that I'm used to. Not a word. Fair enough. The heat has rubberized me. Oh, what a great comment. I've rubberized myself. It's 29. It's not gone down. Sorry, I will stop complaining. I just can't get it off my mind. I can't escape it. It is an oven in here. So, but what a great game. What a great game. Just transitioning that back into our game that we're seeing in front of us now. Both teams have reached a win condition. Both teams are creating lots of jugs to kind of satiate that win condition. Rubble without a clue. It appears to me as though the South are outproducing the North. And so it seems to me as though the South have the opportunity to, if they choose to, at any given point, to send first, firing the first shot that should be the signifier of the end of the game. Now, them sending first doesn't mean that they've won the game. What that means is the opposition team have to defend first. They will have the larger bugs to defend against first. However, if they hold with more yellow signs and wait until they have a magic number, we calculated just now, it was over 800, they may be able to outweight the pressure. And I think that these laser turrets coming early, although they've lost one here, which is not ideal, I'd certainly not want to lose too many of them early on, because against these bugs, they shouldn't really have much of an issue. Okay, they've only lost one, which is good. They've built 68. That's actually pretty generous. That's pretty generous. 68 at this point in the game, and remember, they will continue to be built. Hopefully they don't turn off their laser production. It might just be slightly stagnant, so yeah, we have a really generous buffer here. Each box has anywhere between 1 to 10 lasers in, some with a bit more. Yeah, I love it. That's perfect for me. And if you need to, you can come here with steel and hand feed steel into this, if you do so choose to. Although I believe steel is in very much in need, right? Yeah, we're not maxed out on steel anywhere, so. And that is typically the case of these late game builds. You know, there is one component, be it red chips, be it steel, be it plastic, that just slow you down. So yeah, research-wise, there's no real place that we can go. Artillery is banned, by the way. Yes, artillery is banned. The only way you can impact the enemy team is with sending science so that the enemy bugs on the opposite side become big. The enemy bugs, you hire them out with science. You lure them into the map with science. The science buffs them up and builds them into bigger bugs, stronger bugs and faster bugs, and those bugs will come and fight and bite your enemy. So you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is make easy little science jugs and let the bugs take care of the rest. You're really just outsourcing the pain and misery, you know, to the locals. But I really like what I see from both these teams here. I'm struggling to come up with a negative at all from either of these teams. You know, if I'm being super critical, and I'm not, but if I was to be super critical, if this was a semi-final or a final, potentially not having all of your labs on at this point in the game might not be great if you're going for defensive research that you'll need to rely on later. However, we have multiple lines of defense. We have a stone furnace wall, followed by a normal wall. So this is a 3-layered defense. At its thickest, we have 3 layers here that the bugs have to get through. This though, oh my god, guys, this is a problem. And I know maybe it's still got stuff in it, but are we going to keep bouncing? No, they've got lasers. Yeah, got it. Sorry, that was a problem. It is no longer a problem. Perfect. And they have some. Oh, interesting. They went for flamers as well. That is something. Okay, so perfect. We've been playing Biter Battles for an hour and 6 minutes time. Both teams have similar concepts, different designs, different strategies in terms of the way they execute their base. However, we've come to the same finishing point. Yellow will be sent and it will kill a team off. This southern team have got lasers to help them defend, as well as flame towers. Meanwhile on the north, I am 99% sure they have no flame towers available to them, meaning they are reliant on lasers to do the job. And lasers will do the job, you know. Even up to behemoths, they will do well. However, as Nad says in chat just now, who will send first? And what is that critical number that will absolutely push the pressure so tight and so much so that one team collapses? For me, personally, 1,000 jugs of yellow is devastating to any team. But I think we're looking for that critical mass, that critical number that guarantees us behemoths. And they're there. They're there. Lars, I think that's Lars, LAR5W, Lars W, with a W comment. If the South sends now, they hit 93% Evo, which is big bug, which is behemoth bug territory, sorry. How much vision? Oh my god, do you know what? That is generous vision. I like the network they've managed to get out here for the North. That is really generous. You can see a long way off what's coming at you. We haven't seen, this is the deepest radar network we've seen in any game. And yeah, they won't skip the blue evolution Ilander, but what will happen is that the mediums and small bugs will stop spawning, and the only thing that will spawn will be blue shells and behemoths. But at 93%, most of the bugs will be behemoths. And DP Sync, thank you for the follow, mate. Welcome in. This is a banger of a game. Just to reiterate again, guys, neither of these teams have lost a game so far. They've both played 3. So both teams are 3-0, and at the end of this game, one team will get their first loss. I hope I don't inflict commentators cursed on Darknade, but they're doing a really good job here. Slow down capsule, into poison capsule, into some flame, and that amount of bugs are easily dispatched into the ether. Try again, and a huge send of 1,131. Yellow Jugs shoots out of the catapult of the south to the north, firing the evolution up by 95.6%. There are now 33,000 angry bugs on the north. And Jimmy decides to countersend. They're 0.2% away. Oh my god, they're so close. Now they're there. They got there in the end. That would have been wounding if they were sat at 89% for any longer than 30 seconds. Ness clutched it, dragged all of the science out the labs, and went, have a bit of this. Okay, because the South sent to the North first, the North must defend first. Oh, sorry about that. Do not worry. Firstly, all the games will go up onto YouTube, so you'll be able to watch this back at your own convenience. However, both teams sent, and the North are at 96%, the South at 91%. We have seen over 100% in the games, and the thing that I like about the North is they have lots of lasers, they have chested walls, I believe. Yeah, they have a really decent buffer of almost 1,000 walls here, so you could double this up, triple this up if you want to. Build more of a wall, build a box around your lasers. You're able to defend with behemoths with this level of defense. Yeah, now it's just about the second send, I think. We've done one already, and I'm just going to quickly skip this song along because I don't think it like helps with the order of magnitude of how kind of epic this is. In fact, we're gonna shift the music on a little bit to something a bit different, and I'll just put something a bit more up tempo. That makes sense. There we go. And here we go, guys. Bosses have the health bars, these large green health bars above. And Jimmy50 is going to be fighting for his tournament life. Nobody will be leaving the tournament if they lose a game here, but one team will lose their undefeated status. They've played 3 games. They've won 3 games. This is game number 4. And at the end of this, a team will be going home with the 4th win under their belt in their pocket, and one will go away with their first tournament loss. These bosses are no joke as more waves crash into the northern defences. The behemoths are relentless. Even while sat under massive laser pressure and poison clouds filling their lungs, they survive and push through the wall. These behemoths are no joke, and unmanaged, they will easily run to the depths of your base and kill off anything that you have in your way. Oh my god, look at the power jump as well. Oh my god, the power is nightmarish. Turn this off, turn it all off, lads. Everything that you do not need, turn it off. Coincidentally too, the South are dealing with a similar problem. Behemoths are at their front door, knocking aggressively, almost ready to kick it down. However, the South have reinforced their front door. Meanwhile, on the North, bosses in the middle of their base, tearing through the smelting stacks, not really getting heavily damaged off the back of this. This is frightening for the North. If these bosses take too long to deal with, too long to defend, then the next wave will be coming in with even more pain, with even more like despair attached to each wave that comes in. Now bear in mind, the South have got their work cut out for them. They have monsters knocking on their door as well, and knock they will, violently. So these bugs will absolutely make some dents, and if it isn't this wave, it'll be the one behind it. I've seen this happen all so often. They'll find a weak point, they'll hit it, and they'll just make a hole that will turn into a massive gaping wound that more waves will puncture and push through. So, yeah, it appears to me as though we're having some people drop on the North as well. That's unfortunate. This is really, really close. The only negative here for the North is that, it doesn't matter if it goes over 100. The 100 mark is inconsequential. It can go to 200, 300, 400, even up to 700. I think the highest I've ever seen is about 750. So it's just a number, but there's no more evolutionary states after this. Behemoths are the tankiest they get. All they will do now is get bigger, faster, stronger, but they won't evolve to the next step. I feel like the South have just encased themselves a little better. Robots are it will take them too long to research Violent Shadow. So if you were to research robots, you would be slow, and that way you wouldn't be able to get to an end game where you could win the game. So robots in this game mode are not a thing. It's almost like being able to win a chess game. I mean, you could do it now, but there's not going to be much of your base left. Conceptually speaking, it's an idea, but in this game mode, in this format, bots are not employed at all. They just are a bit too expensive, a bit too lavish, and it's more of a nice to have than a need to have. In our game mode, there are a certain amount of moves that you can make to win. Much like in chess, if you play the right moves, then you get to checkmate and win the game. And with this, bots won't be a thing. There's also a massive amount of resource drain on bots. So if you were to build them, you wouldn't be able to fund and fuel things like this. So there's always that trade-off, and our community, until somebody can prove us different and prove us wrong, have come to the conclusion that bots just don't have a place in the in this meta, in the tournament meta. In normal games, bots can be used. However here, nah. Oh damn, they're getting eviscerated on the north. Smelting lines are in puddles of acid as bugs just meander through the labs, meander through the chips, meander through our early game science, decide to chew what they want because they are the bugs and they do what they want. They are behemoths, they are bosses, and they are here in the middle of our base as it becomes rubble. As one genius, some lyrical genius put it earlier on, rubbleized. Trashing the internal workings of the Northern idea. The bugs are in, they're on, they're through, and this is inevitable. Unfortunately, at the end of every game, one base eventually succumbs to the pressure that the other team has forced onto them. And this appears to me to be, and it's not over till it's over, but this appears to be too much for the North to handle. They didn't have enough time to research all of the nice laser techs they have. Eventually these lasers will slowly but surely, lose out. They've lost 38 so far. There's a fair amount of them left, but as we see, the acid from the behemoths are landing tantalizingly close to the silo. They want their fish, they're here for their fish. They're here to reclaim the fish that were taken from them, and they will stop at nothing. And it's just inevitable, unfortunately. I think neither team have played badly here. I really like this game. This was the closest matchup I think we've had so far. It doesn't necessarily need to be that two undefeated teams play each other for us to have a very close game, but in terms of the ideas and the playstyles that both of these teams employed, this was a very good game. As one biter slowly slides down the conveyor belt of pain. And yeah, there's just, at this point, you don't have access to good technology, you don't have access to good upgrades, you don't have access to anything that would realistically be able to help you defend. Behemoths in this game mode is basically game. And that is a shame, but I do not think that will be the end of Team Ness. I don't. That was an incredibly strong game from the south, and coincidentally too, a very strong game from the north. Close game. Neuro's called it close game. So we're going to read over the stats and then we'll do a mini breakdown, okay? A mini breakdown. Then we'll have a little chat and a natter. And then I'm going to go and find my nearest iceberg and cling to it for dear life. You can sleep in a freezer, can't you? Sorry, can I? Is it humanly possible to sleep in a freezer? I think I might try it tonight.